So the BMW 330i is one of our best of 2019. With me today in the autoX studio is Mr. Rudratej Singh, the President and CEO of BMW India. Rudy, congratulations. Welcome to autoX.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me over.
No, thank you for being here. So you've had 10 years at Unilever. What perspective or what different worldview do you bring to the luxury segment of the auto industry?
I actually spent more than that. I spent close to 18 years at Unilever. Oh, wow. Actually, what Unilever did for me was give me a perspective of consumers from various categories. Yeah. So the advantage was that it was not just one company. It basically was an organization that managed many companies or many categories. So from, as I keep saying, from soup to soap and everything in between, we understood consumers. The other thing I think, which is very important when I moved to the auto sector, is that if you know the FMCG sector, whether it's food or whether it's beverages or soap, soup, anything, it's largely undifferentiated. Therefore, to seek differentiation, to get the consumers to find you preferred over another brand, you work harder. And when you come to the auto sector, you realize that consumers are so much more involved. They come into your store. Imagine a store which is a toothpaste store. It'll never happen. If they come to your store, we still sometimes take the consumer for granted. We assume that they will transact, and we only engage with them when we want to transact with them. So I think I bring in, maybe, if I may say so myself, the ability to serve the customer, whether in the bathroom or the bedroom or the drawing room or the kitchen, earlier in a smaller garage, now a bigger garage. But if we follow the consumer, we'll probably always remain relevant.
So one of the reasons why we're such fans of BMW is because they're great from behind the wheel. Do you find that in India as well, you have more of your customers driving and being in the driver's seat versus your competitors?
Look, you're absolutely right, and I'm preaching to the choir here, but I'll give you an example of the startling difference that BMW has versus anybody else in the segment. I had a 7 Series for 5 years in my previous job. I'm embarrassed to say that I never drove it. Because I was in a two-wheeler business and I loved motorcycles as well, and I had 7 motorcycles and I enjoyed coming to office. And as soon as I joined BMW, I was given a beautiful spanking new 7 Series, 740i. And I said, okay, let me drive it. 15 minutes of driving it, 7 o'clock in the morning, interestingly, 7 o'clock. I came out and I said, the first thing I said is, it drives like a 3. And I think that's very, very fundamental. This was a sort of an epiphany for me, because I never thought that car, which was epitome of luxury and excellence and all of that, can drive like the way it drove. So you're absolutely right. Sometimes I feel that we don't play to our strengths as much as we can. And our engineers know our strength. They make products which are absolutely smack different to anything out there. We are the ultimate driving machine. We do give joy, sheer driving pleasure, and we have to act like one more often. I think we're doing that, as you can see from our range of launches that have happened. Of course, the 3 Series, why we are here today, but even before that, the spate of launches we've had, the X4, the X7, of course, the 7 Series, and the 6 GT. I think these are some of the cars which are as good driven, as good as being chauffeur driven. I keep saying offhanded comment, which I think is being liked a lot actually in our dealerships as well as in our company, that we are for self-driven India. And self-driven has a double-edged meaning. We are self-driven achievers, self-made, self-driven, and their first choice is BMW. So a lot of people who say that, look, BMW is, or cars, luxury cars or premium cars are largely chauffeur-driven, I don't entirely agree. It's the notion that you can get feedback and it connects with you the way BMW connects is why people buy. Whether they use 5% of that time, but that 5% becomes 10, 15, and people start enjoying it on the weekends. And yes, short answer, the BMW owner is different. Firstly, they are self-driven mentally. And I think there is a clear demographic, psychographic differentiation that I'm seeing already. And I think we'll play on that going forward. But I think also when you do drive the car, like I did, you know the perceivable difference and how it connects man, machine, and the terrain so beautifully.
So you mentioned 7 Series and X7. One of the slightly controversial things with them is the styling of the new nose. Yeah. So social media has gone crazy with the new styling direction, saying it's very China-centric because they want the brand to stand out. What is your take on that?
I think, firstly, I love the large kidney grills. It needs some adjusting for some people, so the purists maybe. Yeah. But I think it fits really nicely with the design sensibility that has been brought in across the range, is my personal view. A lot of engineering and a lot of research has gone into it. Yeah. I don't think it's representative of only one country, but really the way the market and the way BMW wants to go as a design philosophy, slightly more out there. Yeah. And I think it's not just the grill. If you see the overall design sensibility, it is more in line with that. I think there is strong acceptance. But yes, the idea is to polarize a view as well, rather than be a vanilla. BMW has never been that, and we don't intend to in the future as well.
So we're here for the 3, so let's talk about the 3 a little bit. What is your favorite aspect of the new 3 Series?
Look, I really feel that the 3 Series has, throughout it from its first generation to now, it's always stood for whatever BMW truly stands for, which is the ultimate driving machine, sheer driving pleasure. It really epitomizes all of that. Why the 3 Series today is successful, and we are probably doing 50% higher than what we did same period last year in tough automotive conditions in terms of the business, the way the industry is right now, is because I think we've brought in a balance of thrill and technology in it. So you have a lot more technology, whether it's the parking assist or whether it's the gesture control. Those are my personal favorites. But I think it connects the entire family, whether you're sitting at the back or you're driving in front. It's aiding driving pleasure, but it's also enjoying the full car. I think for me, getting the entire family connected to the car, not just through your devices, but emotionally, is what the 3 Series does for me and in my family. And of course, I think it assists you to enjoy driving as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, one of the reasons why we value it so highly is because it's a car that you can use every day. It's got the luxury and the technology, but it's something that you can really enjoy driving.
Yeah, and honestly, many cars, and we always have this thing with technology, even in other products that we use, we don't fully use our technology. We probably use 20% of it. I think the 3 Series is designed in a way that you can really connect and engage with the full available technology, and I think that's something that's special.
My only complaint with the 3 was it's got so much grip now that I can't slide it as easily as I can slide the previous generation.
I'm only fortunate that there are few people like you who would say that, thankfully.
But I know you're only supposed to say good things about the car, but do you have a least favorite attribute?
I don't know. I think for me, the fact that my driver drives it more than me would be probably the least favorite attribute, but nothing with the car.
That's a positive in that case. You're a bike guy. Yes. What do you gravitate towards in the Motorrad family?
I just got the R90, so I'm still I love it. It's just I haven't been able to ride as much as look at the bike, unfortunately, for various reasons. One being the weather, and it's not necessarily the best time to go out there with a half-faced helmet, which is what I use normally. So I like roadsters. I like old school cafe racers, roadsters. I'm not into the sports side of things yet, but maybe one day. The next one would be the GS range. I'm a big fan of the GS range, entire range of ours, even starting with the 310. I think, importantly, I would mention that the 310 is. I'm delighted to know that 310 is it's part of the portfolio at BMW India, because it is already making a fundamental difference to the way Motorrad is going to start taking shape in India.
Have the 310s had the kind of impact that you were expecting?
Well, it's been a phenomenal last couple of months. Let's put it this way: it's exceeded all our expectations, overall business as well as the 310 portfolio, and it didn't require much. Look, we are, in my view, giving the market, without naming the players, a better product. There's no question about it. What we have done with our association and venture with TVS is we've been able to localize manufacturing to a level where cost of ownership and cost of repair and cost of all the other aspects of ownership are much lower than what BMW is normally envisaged to be motorcycles are across the world. I think that partnership has helped us unlock a lot of people who can now truly buy world-class motorcycles in India, which has not necessarily been the case so far. And that's very evident from the bookings we've just received during this Diwali and the festival season. It's exceeded all expectations, and we are confident that going forward, we will have similar results.
You talked about the air quality these days in the NCR, or the toxic air quality. EVs are a buzzword. You've had the i3 on test for a couple of months. Is there any plan on the EV front for BMW in India?
Dhruv, we are watching the space. We are ready with technology. We are testing. We've already launched a few products and we've tested the market. I think the what is very clear where we are going, but the how has to be really drawn out with deep collaboration between the industry and the government. And I'm sensing now in the last 6 months, I think that collaboration is moving in the right direction. I think we need to have a roadmap for plug-in hybrids as much as with BEVs. I think the plug-in hybrids will be a very important part of the transition, and more work has to happen in creating the ecosystem, the policies for consumers, so that we can facilitate that change. I think there's more work to be done there, but I think there is positive direction. The movement is in the right direction.
And your BS6 diesels, when are those expected?
Well, we are already underway, so a lot of our products are already coming into the market as we speak. So you will start seeing BS6 coming in at end of this month in diesel as well. Of course, petrol has already started and we are already available. And I must add that we are very unique right now. Our BS4 products, which are available in the market for a very limited period of time, are smack new. We are the only part of the segment which is absolutely new in terms of our launches and our life cycle. And this is the best time to buy either the BS4 or the BS6, depending on the appetite for which one a consumer wants. This is the best time to buy a BMW.
And final question, what are your views looking forward going into 2020?
Look, I've said this before, there are no magic potions. We are in a very unique situation where obviously there is an economic slowdown, and most businesses in auto and outside of auto, which are strong businesses like BMW, are used to taking cyclical slowdowns. But what has happened along with cyclical slowdown is a structural reform that has been timed together. There is no better time for structural reform. There's no best time for something that has to happen. This is probably the best time, I could argue. The combination of that has created a unique position, which means that we will be in a volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous situation for some time. Let's not look at only the festival season, but what happens after that for the next 3 months. That's one metric that we should look at, not just the Diwali and the festival season. And the other is when we do have BS6 across the board, things have stabilized for 2-3 months, is really when the real trends will start showing. I would still say that there will be progress, but slow for the next 2 to 5 quarters. But definitely we will start seeing green shoots, as we have already.
So be patient is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for your time.
Lovely meeting you.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks.